All right, everyone. Some suggestions, things that we need to do during our test, and then the things that we can do actually to improve our ability to pass the exam. We already covered some of the other the books and some of the mock tests as well. And I hope that at least by now all of you have already attempted, if not 100% completed, but at least attempted all those the mock tests that I gave you. So if you have not done that, you just remember that you cannot proceed and you cannot pass the exam if you don't do those mock tests. Just having the knowledge about the overall test is not going to cut it. You do need to actually attempt those mock tests. You need to discipline yourself in sitting all the way to for that for these tests, and then attempt that one and then complete it and understand what the logic behind for these. There are a ton of resources are available. I have also shared with you, but I don't want to bombard you with so many different type of tests. I just wanted to make sure at least if we start with one at a time and then we move forward with that, that would be great. So please go ahead and if you have not done that one, please start working with your mock test and then do it. With that, today, I just want to welcome Brother Bashar. He is a PMP trainer as well as he works at Intel and he has a ton of knowledge. Actually, he's way more qualified than me to run this whole thing. And I know he's a busy man, so I requested him if he can just join us today in our second last class, and he can work with us on and give his perspective. What's the best way to start preparing for the exam? What's the best way to discipline ourselves in doing it? And then how we can actually work with all the preparation steps that we need to do. With that, Bashar, Brother Bashar, thank you very much for joining us today, and welcome to the group. And please go ahead if you want to share anything on your screen, you can do that, or if you want to just talk, or you can turn on the camera. Either way, it's your call. Go ahead.
Right. Thank you, Gol. Good afternoon, everyone. Salam alaikum. I'm trying to share, but it says host disabled
I will do it.
participants.
I will give you
Thank
the
you.
access to that one.
Thank you.
Well, you can start. Go ahead and start talking, and then I will do it in a minute.
Okay. Do you want me to do a video or
It's totally up to you.
okay, well, let me see if I can.
You should be able to share now.
We don't know how you look, Brother Bashar. Can you please share your video?
Okay, if you don't know how he looks, then we need to talk after this.
Abed, you're always on me. All right. Well, I look like every Saturday. So anyway, well, thank you so much for all of you joining. And let me just share. It's easier for me when I go. And how long do I have, Goal?
You can take as much time as you want. I have allocated for 1 hour, but it's up to you. It's going to be a very interactive session, so it's up to you how
Okay.
much time you want to take.
All right. Can you see what I have?
Yes, we can see it. We can see your screen.
Yes, we see the screen.
Okay, let me see if I can maximize it.
Yep. While he's doing it, just wanted to give everyone a perspective. Why I have invited him is, so far you have been getting all the tips and hints from my side. That's only one person's perspective. Also, I've done some trainings as well, so over the period of time I learned something. But as I said, that Brother Bashar is way more qualified than me in running these, and he's been doing it. So I wanted to have an additional perspective as well, so that you can get that. That's the reason why he's doing it. Jazakallah khair, brother.
Thank you. Can you see the full screen? Everything is okay?
We see the presenter mode, the two screens, Brother Bashar.
Oh, okay. Well,
But it's okay. I mean, if that's what you're comfortable with.
Um, uh, I thought that you would see it. Let me see if
Turn
I
on
can
me.
change.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn off this to be only the PMP tips and hints. Maybe someone would know how to do that.
So, Bashar, why don't you get out of the presentation mode and do it back again? Sometime, right? I've seen that works.
Get off what? I'm sorry.
Get out of the presentation mode. I think you are in the presentation mode, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So do you see it like this? Is this
Yeah.
good?
Yeah,
Good.
good as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. So just a quick minute. I think I know most of you, or you know me, or and if I don't know any one of you, hopefully in the masjid we will meet and we will talk. Thank you so much, Brother Gol, for inviting me. This is a great time to be in, and I truly appreciate all your valuable time and coming to this great training, by Brother Gol and just, going through this every week. If that indicates anything, it indicates your commitment and how dedicated you are for your personal growth and going through this with Brother Gol and I think Brother Noman as well. So I truly appreciate their efforts and thank you for your participation. Coming today is an honor. I'm just a humble person that likes always to acquire knowledge and get some learning from here and there. I acquired my PMP certification back in 2010. It's been about 14 years. And uh, I think I do want to say one of the best. I think it's the best certification that I have, that I saw the value of it. And I always kind of trying to be a pioneer, if you wish, or an advocate for this certification. And my personal level, also at my work at Intel. Back in 2018, early 2018, I came up with an idea to create a program for all Intel, and it's called Intel PMP Series Training. Because a lot of my friends and colleagues would ask me for tips and hints and what should I do, what book, what resources, and how do I study. So I used to have 101 in the cafe or over the phone. And then I said to myself, why can't, we create something and go from there? So I met with some people and a couple of ladies that I know from IT, and we all doing volunteering work. We created the program, came up with slides, contents, registered all the courses with Saba or My Learning System within the company, and started to do it since then. This is the 6th year that we're doing cohorts. Each cohort is about 3 months for 12 classes, 2 hours virtual every single week for each class. And for people who are in Intel, we're going to start our next cohort on the 28th of February. So we can talk about that maybe next week if you are interested. So let's jump in here. The slides I have, hopefully they are simple and hopefully we can cover them all. I'm not going to try to speed up, but we'll go through some contents quickly because probably Brother Gol, maybe covered many of these kind of ideas or thoughts. But as he said, it's always great to listen to other, practitioners or other people who went through this journey that you are trying to go through, and I'm sure that you will be successful and you will be certified as well. If you have any questions, let me know. We can discuss anything. I can answer any of your questions, hopefully, at the best of my knowledge. And if not, I can come back to you and answer any of the questions. I have this slide and the next slide. This is just in case if you're going to have a discussion with your manager or with yourself. Let me explain. Sometimes while you're going through this study kind of journey, you might ask yourself, or if you're so busy and you have a lot of things to do at work and at home, why should I get it, right? I have my job. I know what I'm going to do. I already have my master or doctorate or whatever degree and I've been in this company for 10 years or 15 years. Why something extra that I dedicate my weekends and evening times to study for the next 3 months or so to pass the exam? Well, the value is so huge. The first thing, let me tell you, PMP is a certification that's current as of now in more than 100 countries worldwide. So imagine a year from now, 2 years from now, you change your jobs, you go to a different country, you go to a different company, you carry this certification with you. So it's very valuable. As a matter of fact, I know about Intel that some managers consider PMP certification as a master degree. If you are at Intel or any other company, go to your HR portal for careers or jobs and search for PMP keyword. You will see some jobs, the managers are asking master degree required or PMP certification. So I know that because I did some interviews and I, did some work in that HR place. So I know for sure the value of this, just to let you know about that. It's a top certification rated by the CIO magazine. The salary, if you're looking for salary or the material kind of concept out of it, people who have PMP certifications usually get more percentage of their rewards or their salary. And also, it is something that you can practice and apply in your daily kind of schedule. So whether you are an engineer, a developer, an admin, an analyst, a project manager, a people manager, or an individual contributor, you apply the methods of the PMP in your daily basis. So when we talk about stakeholder management, when we talk about finance, when we talk about budgeting, people, teams, all of that are methods of PMP certification. So the value, it's not just for your career, it's for you as a person, for your career, and for the company that you work for. Another slide I have is when you talk to your manager and try to get some support from your manager when it comes to budgeting, if you want to buy a book or if you want to be a member in the PMI, or the most important thing is to pay for your PMP certification, which is more than $500. So you want to get support from your manager. I have this slide that maybe you can get some thoughts and making a case for your manager when you have a one-on-one to get his support when it comes to time and money. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but just a slide to go through it. The timeline, I think Gol maybe probably mentioned this to you during the training, but it takes 3 to 4 months, less or more. It depends on your time. It depends on your circumstances. It depends on your ability to study. Some people study for 2 hours and they need a break or they cannot just continue. Others, they can study for 7 hours or 6 hours in a weekend. So it depends on how long you put your efforts and time in studying. But usually if you are dedicated and you have a schedule of studying, it takes 3 to 4 months to get the PMP certification. So if you started back in January and you go step by step in a daily basis and study, hopefully by April, May, you can be a PMP certified. Applying for the PMP, 4 stages. So you really need to confirm the eligibility of yourself, if you are eligible before you even study, to take the exam. And probably this you guys went through, but this is talking about 2 things, talking about education, how many education hours you have. The required is 35 hours. And how many experience hours you have for the work that you do. The project, when you apply, if you verify that, okay, I have my education, I have my 35 hours, and I have the experience, so you can go move and gather this information to prove to PMI that you are eligible and you are qualified. And a lot of people think that this is very difficult. It's not. If you look back for the last 7 years, in your Outlook or whatever calendar you use at work, probably you attended a lot of seminars, face-to-faces, training, webinars, sessions. Those are in your Outlook. Those are already recorded, right? Just go back year after year after year, you will see them. So maybe you attended a team building through a face-to-face for 1 hour, and dealing with people and dealing with networks and all of that. So that can be considered. Maybe you attended something around time management. That can be considered. Maybe you attended something about efficiency or effectiveness in your work, Lean Six Sigma, stakeholder management, schedule management. And it doesn't matter if it's engineering side or non-engineering side. Any of those can be contributed to your educational hours. So if you don't have the 35 hours already calculated out of the training that you just attended, you can accumulate the others from your Outlook if you go back. The worst case scenario, if you did not attend any training before, you can go to one of your learning systems at work. For example, at Intel, we have My Learning, we have Degreed, we have LinkedIn. Most of you probably have access to LinkedIn. You can take classes there. Just go and type project management or PMP. You will find a lot of classes that you can attend for free. So that's for the education. For the work, the same thing. You go back in the years in your Outlook and see what projects you were involved in, and you can consider those projects as requirements for your career or the job requirements. You need to fill the application, of course. There is a portal under PMI. When you create an account, you don't have to be a member with the PMI. Anyone can apply. You need to fill that application. That application can be a challenge, by the way, and it needs some thinking and some time. You cannot just do it in half an hour or 1 hour. You just want to make sure that you put things that hopefully you will not be audited. About 18 to 20% of people who apply gets audited. If you get audited, don't panic. The audit is random by a system. So if you get audited, probably you're going to get audited within a day or 2 days of applying by an email from PMI saying, for example, explain this statement or explain this work, or provide us with 2 references that can advocate for the experience that you have. Those kind of audits. So it's not that scary. Usually anyone can get audit or may get audit, and you can just answer for that. I'm going to switch screen and let me know if you can see this. And I can share this with you afterward. Can you see this Excel spreadsheet?
No, brother, we still see the presentation.
Oh,
If you are sharing only one screen on your computer, then you will have to
okay.
bring that Excel sheet to that one. That's
Yeah,
good.
you need to stop share and share again. Yeah, here it is. We see it.
Now we can see it.
Okay. This is an Excel spreadsheet. I did not create this one. We adopted this one. It's with a permission. It was an open permission from one of the universities in the East Coast about, I think 5 or 6 years ago. They did a great job in creating this one. And it was created by a company for them. This is the company, so just for the rights and to mention the reference, and this is the spreadsheet, the website and the number. You don't need to contact them. You can view this in here. So basically this spreadsheet, we recommend people who are applying for the PMP to use this spreadsheet before going through the portal of the PMI. And get everything in here, and then you do a copy and paste. It's much, much easier. You can check your spelling. You can go through your application with a coach, with a mentor before you apply, and you just apply. All of that just to reduce the risk of, the system auditing you. And again, only 18% or 20% of people applying may get audits. So it's not like everybody apply gets get audited. This is the degree education. So what is your degree education as far as the requirement? This is your education requirements. You just fill them in here in each one. Each cell is editable. And then this is your PMP experience. And this sheet will calculate all your hours and everything that you have in here. And there are examples included. So you can fill this, edit this, go through it, and then you can go through the PMP portal and just paste the information in there. That would be that's what we did. Most of us who passed the PMP exam, this is how we did it when we applied. This is not a requirement. It's just a recommendation, sharing a BKM with you if you are interested in this. You can use the portal right away from you know, from the other, you can use the portal from the PMI right away instead of doing this extra step. All right, let me go back. This slide is about application tips to remember. So you need to write a description for each entry. If you go through that sheet, you will see all of that. As I mentioned, go through your Outlook, define the projects that you were in. And here is one thing to share. You don't need to be a PM, a project manager in every single project to report it as part of your experience. If you were an analyst or a developer or an engineer, you had a role in a project, you can still claim your experience in that specific project. So that's very, very crucial. PMI will say that it will take 5 business days, excluding weekends, 5 business days to respond to you, to your email. They will not call you, they will not text you, they will send you one email. Congratulations, you are accepted for the PMP exam, or we have a couple of questions for you. It takes 5 days, but usually it's within 2 to 3 days you will get the response. You can't claim more than 40 hours a week for any project that you are, even if you worked overtime or through shifts, different shifts, or you worked in a different country, or whatever the circumstances are. 40 hours maximum. That's what they will accept. They will accept you working in 2 projects in parallel at the same time. So 20 hours and 20 hours, or 15 hours and 25 hours. That would be fine, as long as the maximum is 40 hours. Most of the companies, when you attend a class, you will have a transcript or a record of the training that you took. You can just print that if needed. You don't have to apply, you don't have to submit it with your application. But if they ask, for example, this class, so and so, can you send us a proof of attending this class? So you go and just send them the transcript. Usually they will not ask about your education. If they will ask anything, they will ask about your experience. If you get audited, as we mentioned, read the instructions and don't panic, step by step, and just respond to them. They will accept your responses. For each project that you mention, try to have a contact, a person that you worked on in that project, a manager, a project manager, a colleague, a customer, somebody who can advocate for you and be a reference in case if you get a question from the PMI. So keep this in your mind. It's recommended to complete the application in 1 or 2 settings. Most people, many people, I do want to say many people delay applying until the end, and they think it's so challenging, it's so huge effort. No, it takes steps to apply, like anything that you remember when you applied for your master degree, for example. Remember when you applied for other certifications that you have. Same process. So, but get it done. Like, put it in your schedule and say, I'm gonna just get this schedule done. I'm gonna just apply and get it over with. And this, once you apply and get the scheduled date for your exam, that will encourage you and motivate you to study more and more, because now you have a goal, you have a certain date waiting for you. Use the example spreadsheet. This is the one that I showed you. I'll pause here if you have any questions.
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
Is the PMI asking for the current job, like what are you working, or just they are asking
No,
basically based on?
that's a secret. I work with for a secret agency. Of course, you can ask. I'm a project manager at Intel.
No, like my question is like the PMI, when someone want to apply for the PMP certification, is the PMI asking for like the
Yeah,
current job, what's
they
your
will.
goal, what?
Yep. They will ask you. Let me see if I. They will ask you for your personal information, your address, your name, your role, your you know, the company. I don't think they ask for the company, but your role. So
Just in general, if someone has no job, so does there should be a problem or no?
no, you don't have to have a job to apply for the PMP exam. You don't have to.
Okay.
So the bottom line is that they will ask you for the details, and you can, even if you tell them that I don't have a job at the moment, which is perfectly fine. They just want to make sure that if you have the job where you work, and in case you get audited, then you will provide some details of that one. But if you just simply tell them that I don't have a job at the moment, and so that is absolutely acceptable. That's not an issue with PM. That's not a prerequisite for PMI to apply for PMP exam.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. And the contact person for your project can be your neighbor, can be a customer, can be a friend, somebody who knows you, who knows that you worked in such projects. So it doesn't have to be even in the same company if you work for a company right now, and it doesn't have to be somebody that you know from even any other company. So somebody who would know about the project that you have. Good question. All right.
Bashar, I have a question, please.
Yes, please.
So, I mean, I attended like at Intel many meetings with like Career Zone, like all these webinars that HR makes, and then with the outside vendors that Intel like provides, like O'Reilly. I attended like many things related to time management and stuff like that.
Yes.
So my question is, how do I present that? Like, do I need to? I mean, like they're on my calendar. I know exactly like the time and dates I attended that, but how do I prove it? Like, do I have to prepare something before I apply,
No,
or only at the time of audit?
yeah, that's a good question, Talha. This is what they will ask you for. Let me show you. This is what they will ask you for: the course title, the institution name. So, for example, you took time management last year in May during a face-to-face for 1 hour in Arizona, and it's called time management. So the course title would be time management. The institution name, it would be Intel Learning. Anything you took in Intel, just say Intel Learning. You don't have to say Intel University or My Learner or SABA, just say Intel Learning Organization. Start date and end date. The date can be the same day, of course, if it's 1 hour or 2 hours. And then, hours. If it's 1 hour, if it's 45 minutes, if it's 2 hours, and this spreadsheet will calculate it for you. So that's what they will ask when you apply. If you get audited and say, for example, they say, okay, show us a proof. You just go to My Learning or Degreed or LinkedIn or any of the systems that you use. There is in your right-hand side in the personal menu, or your settings or account, something like that. There is something called either transcripts or certification. You just print it as a PDF, you save it as a PDF, and you attach it to the email and send it to them.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, sure. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we took this training course with Brother Goal for over 35 hours over the last 5 weeks or so. Would
Nice. Yeah.
that be sufficient to meet the requirement of the required training to make an application?
Yes, it should be. Yep, 35 hours. If you want to include all the hours from the training that you attended, that should be enough. And you don't have to report more hours. I'm sure that all of you took a lot of training and maybe you took 40 or 50 or what have you, especially if you go to online and Degreed or LinkedIn. There are so many. LinkedIn has, by the way, a great PMP cohort class that you can take for free. You don't have to report more than 35 hours. That's what they ask for. That's what you should just apply. If you did not attend a week with Brother Goal, for example, or you missed a class and you have only 29 hours or 25 hours, that's totally fine. Just go back and see what kind of classes you attended during the few years back, and you can supplement that.
Okay,
All
any
right.
questions?
Okay.
Sorry, I have another question.
Yeah.
As the PMI requirements is 35 hours, so that's good.
I can't hear.
Someone try to learn more, but as you know, PMP or this is like a not a subject, but it's a big learning things. So someone may be not able to handle all. What's your suggestion? Like they need to decide a self-study to take more classes, or is there any class like go in detail all the all the sessions and work and do more like to learn and to be able to handle, like for example fresh graduate, or some people they are not have good enough experience in the project management or something. So what's your suggestion, or like what's your recommendation?
Sure. Brother, here's the thing. PMI been for so many years kind of secretive when it comes to the percentage of passing the exam. We were able to get some data. I'll show this in the slides to come. Show some data that the percentage to pass the exam is about 60 to 65% of the questions. If you answered 65% of the questions in the exam, you will pass the exam. The thing is, PMI will, when you pass the exam, they will say, congratulations, you passed. They will not give you the percentage, right? So out of this, we did some face-to-faces before and came up to a result. How an individual would know that he or she would be ready for the exam. So we came up with this mechanism or with this kind of suggestion. And again, this is any of the things that I'm saying, it's not required. It's just out of experience and out of analysis and research. If you take a full exam, a mock exam with like a similar exam to the PMI exam, not a module, a full 4 hours exam, and you score between 75 and 80 or 75 and above, percentage-wise, in those 3 mock exams, that means you're ready to take the exam. If you did not, or if you failed to score around 75 or 80% in any of these 3 trials, any of these 3 exams, that means you still need to work on yourself and study. So that's kind of how you would assess your preparation for the exam. As far as your question, what kind of other classes or boot camps, or I have 2 slides for resources at the end that I will share with you. Some of those resources have fee that you need to apply to pay, and others are free. So we'll share this with you and you can go through them as well.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, well,
I have a question. Assalamu
yeah.
alaikum.
Salam.
So we were talking on the previous slide about how to show your 36 hours of training or learning. I have a question about the 36 months of experience leading projects within the last 8 years. So for a person as myself, I don't have like an IT or engineering background. My background is teaching and education. And so can you list some examples of how I, would show those months of experience? Like, can you give some examples on that?
Yeah, of course. So for you as a teacher, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say, sister, that you are a teacher. Probably you had projects with your students. Probably you had some community services that you've done before in behalf of the school that you worked for. Probably you've had some activities which can be projects that you had before with your colleagues, with your other sisters or gentlemen that you worked with in that school. Maybe you had a new teacher coming and they assigned you to be a mentor or to be a buddy for that teacher. You can consider that as a project. Maybe you worked with your class to have a project to talk about Ramadan. What is Ramadan? Why do we fast as Muslims? Why it's a pillar? Why, what's the wisdom? That can be a project. If you think about it, not just in the teaching field, but in any field, I would say 90% of what we do, even at our homes, are projects. If you can frame them well and you can talk about them as what the PMI would like to hear from you. So the short answer is, I don't know how many years you've been as a teacher. I don't know how many projects you had, but I would say if you go back, let's say you worked as a teacher for 5 years, go back through the last 5 years and try out of your memory, or if you have some documentations, or if you have in your Outlook or Google Calendar, whatever resources that you use that will stimulate your memory to get those events, write them down. If you want to use that spreadsheet that I showed you, and you would end up with some good projects that you went through. We had, one of my mentees that I coached 2 years ago. She's an admin, 2 years college, community college, and she is a secretary or an admin at Intel. And she thought that she didn't have enough experience. We went through her years of experience at Intel, and she did a lot of projects. She applied and she got accepted. So again, you don't have to be a PM, a project manager. You don't have to work for a 500 Fortune company or for the state agency to apply for the exam. As long as you did some work, you did some benefits to the community or to the corporation that you work for, and you can document that should be fine.
Thank you. That was very helpful. I appreciate it.
Of course, you're welcome. So we'll pause again for more questions, but let me just go through this is, I think, the most important section. It's about tips and hints that to share with you around some studying. When we summarize the different kind of studying habits or different studying models, you have self-study, group study, and mentor and coach relationship. Self-study, you do it by yourself. Nobody knows about you. You put yourself in a room and you just read, study, practice, 5 months, 4 months, 9 months until you pass the exam. Is it the good? Might be good for some people. Some people like to do that. Group study, like what we're doing now, like what Brother Gul initiated and came up with this great creative boot camp for all of you. Studying every weekend, meeting, asking questions, be yourself, transparency, safe place to ask questions and say, I don't know, or I don't have any experience, which is totally fine because we are all here to learn. So I would go for the group study in any certification or in any degree. And I've done it before, and it's always great because when people get together, everybody is busy, everybody has families, everybody, has work or looking for work or you would encourage each other. So it's a great thing, and you could practice and ask questions. Now, the other thing that I would recommend all of you to have is to have a mentor or to have a coach, to have somebody that you meet with in a weekly basis. Every 2 weeks, give him a call, see him in the masjid, see him at work, go for lunch, and ask questions for that coach or that mentor who is a PMP certified and who went through this, and he can give you some encouragement. So, the thing is about the PMP certification, many people don't know, is there is something called psychological effect. What does that mean? Sometimes you feel down while you're studying. Sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes you need to arrange your priorities to study, right? Sometimes your kid has a soccer practice, or your wife or your husband has something at work or something that they need help with, and you cannot because you're studying. And this is totally fine. Totally fine to say no to events, and totally fine to put yourself in your home and study for those 4 months, because the reward is so huge, it's so big. You will have a title. Your name will be first name, last name, comma, PMP. That's your new title. In addition of other titles, if you have MS or PhD or what have you. So the reward is so huge. So you need to work for it. When you have somebody who can walk through with you in that road, that's so helpful. I had a great coach when I was studying, and I used to call him like every Thursday or so during lunch for about 15 or 20 minutes. And I would ask him 2 questions. How should I do this? What do you think of this resource? One time I called him and I said, I'm giving up. I just can't keep doing this. I'm not doing anything in my life except work and study. And he said, oh, that's totally fine. You're better than a lot of people in this world that cannot study because they have some kind of disability or they don't have resources. And a lot of other people that still looking for jobs, you still have a job. Just those 2 statements that he gave me, he just pushed me for so many miles to study. And I was like ashamed of myself just telling him that I'm almost giving up. So I'm sharing this with you because I care with you. We all have that weaknesses sometimes. So having a mentor or a coach is very, very critical. And again, no requirement. It's up to you. This is just sharing. PKMs for PMP certification. Focus on you, do not procrastinate. Don't delay things, right? You can do it. You've done a lot of things in your life, right? Remember when you were studying for your driver license, right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, it was so scary, right? But you got your driver license. Remember the first time you bought a house? It was so scary, but you got a house. When you moved to Folsom, how was it, right? Everything, when you start something, when you go through something new, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's challenging. But is it impossible? It's not impossible. Everything is possible with your determination. So if you believe in this certification, you have to do it. It's not like, oh, if I have time, or, oh, I should. No, you shouldn't. You have to. Challenge yourself. Study. Everything needs preparation. You're not going to go to the exam without studying. So you need to believe in studying. Now, when you study, it's not about if I have 1 hour, I will study this Saturday. Or, oh, after I watch a movie, or study means concentration. No phone, no TV, no kids. You put yourself for 2 hours study, and then you go for a walk, or you go for lunch, or take a shower, or you go to the masjid and pray and come back. You need to put the study time for this certification in your calendar. This is something that my coach told me when I was studying, and I still remember that. You need to blend this study within your daily schedule. So you have a meeting canceled at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Oh, great. Okay, it's canceled. Use that 1 hour to study. You have 1 hour lunch, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, whatever. Don't take the full hour for lunch. Take 15 minutes to just eat a sandwich and pray, for example. or 30 minutes, and the other 30 minutes, go try to answer 20 questions of your study book. The thing is, when you look at it, the whole study is so big, right? But when you put this whole thing in small segments, it will be achievable. So if you spend 30 minutes today, it's great. If you can spend 2 hours tomorrow, beautiful. I used to wake up early in the morning around 5:30 when I was studying, do my take a shower, my coffee, pray, all of the things that we all do in the morning, and then put myself for about an hour and a half and study before I drop the kids to school and then go to work. So by doing this, I'm already done with an hour or hour and a half of studying early in the morning, fresh, with a cup of coffee. And then I used to stay until 7 or 6:30 p.m. at work and go to a conference room and study every single day. On a weekend, I used to have Sunday as kind of a free day for me. I don't want to study, I don't want to work, I just want to sit home, want to eat, want to sleep, play with the kids, watch a movie. So I used to have a Sunday as one free day for me. But on Saturday, I used to study 8 hours every single Saturday. It's a sacrifice, but you will get the reward of it. PMI, you don't need to get the PMI membership, but if you get the PMI membership, that will save you for your exam fees. So might as well be a PMI member because you get a lot of educational and conferences and webinars invitations, and you can attend them. And then practice and practice. How do you assess your study and your skills? And if you understand a concept or a formula or a method, is by practicing. If you have a study book, at the end of each chapter of any study book, there would be 20 or 30 questions. Answer those and see where are the weaknesses when you don't answer a question correctly. To study for the PMP exam, probably you know all of this. So the exam is 4 hours. You go to a facility. It's not monitored by PMI. It's a partner with PMI. You go there and it's 4 hours. You can take a break, of course. But you need to practice sitting for 4 hours to take the exam, right? So you need to do that before you go to the real exam. And what we recommend is doing it 3 times, at least. Now you're going to say 3 times, oh, that's 12 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. Yeah, that's 12 hours. Do you need them to do them in one weekend or 1 week? No, just do one exam this week, next exam next week, and the following exam the next week. The following week. You will get the practice and you will assess yourself and you will know if you can take the exam or not if you score around 80%. Of course, take commitment, determination. You need to set your goals, your schedule, all of that, but it's doable. Excuse me. All right. More study tips. Again, study with a group of people. Try to know the interdependencies of your core processes. So the ordering of them. You need to memorize some definitions. For the formulas, some people struggle with formulas. Try to practice. The more you practice, the more you will know. From this year and last year, people who took the exam, most of the people say that they only got 2 questions about formulas. So don't panic. Don't spend a lot of time on that, just try to practice and hopefully you can just go through it. Again, the passing score of the exam is about 65%. So that's good news, right? So if you score 65%, you pass the exam. At your work, if there is a boot camp or a class or a training, by the way, LinkedIn, hopefully most of you have LinkedIn accounts. Just go to LinkedIn. They have LinkedIn Learning. Just type PMP. There is a great training in there. If I find the link, I'll send it. But you can attend that. It's virtual. It's already recorded. Um, other ones like the Grid or My Learning or whatever other ones in your company. So utilize those resources. Before taking the test, don't work until Friday 5 p.m. and go take the test on Saturday. We recommend taking about 3 days off, 2 to 3 days before taking the exam. So if you want to if you cannot take days off, you have a difficult manager, you don't have vacation balance, whatever the reason is, that's fine. Take the exam on a Monday morning. And Saturday and Sunday would be off, and hopefully Friday would be a light day for you. But try to take 2 to 3 days because you need to get into the mood, right? You need to be in meetings and discussion with your manager and teams and problems at work and what have you. You need to isolate yourself. Just be yourself for these days. Tomorrow is the exam. I took the exam at 8 o'clock, and I recommend people taking the exam. Usually there are 2 shifts, 8 to 12 and 1 to 5, unless if they changed it. Take it at 8. It's better to take it at 8 because it's fresh in the morning. Hopefully you had a good sleep and you just do it, get it done, instead of waiting until 1 p.m. to take it. Before you take it, the night before you take it, don't eat biryani, don't eat, meat and chicken and all of that. Just try to eat, maybe a hummus sandwich, cheese sandwich, salad, soup. Just be light in your body. Have enough sleep. Probably you're not gonna sleep right away, so go to sleep around like 9:30, 10 max. Hopefully by 11 you'll be in deep sleep. Wake up early around I would say 5:30 or so. Pray Fajr. Maybe you can go through some summaries and then drive to your exam. You need to arrive before the exam, um, uh, before the time. If you arrive late, they will not allow you to enter. So if the exam is at 8, try to schedule yourself to be there by 7:30. You have traffic, you don't know what kind of weather is gonna be. Just try to do some mitigation of any risk during your driving. Don't dress heavily, dress whatever comfort for you. If you want to dress, if you want to wear a short, or if you want to wear a sport pant, or a slipper, whatever is good for you. They will not ask you why you're wearing this. You need to take your ID and snack, maybe a banana and orange, a bottle of water or 2 bottles, depends on you, and that's it. They will take everything from you at the entrance of the exam, by the way. Your watch, your pen, your glasses, your hat. They will take everything. If you have a necklace with a logo or with whatever, they might ask you about that. So they will give you a cabinet or a storage with a key where you can put your stuff in there, so you cannot take anything inside. When you take the test, so you are inside the room now, the 4 hours once you start in your screen, 4 hours will start. It's 4 hours exactly. Now, can you finish earlier before 4 hours? Yeah, some people finish it in 3 hours or 3 hours and a half. Do I recommend that? No. You have 4 hours, take the whole 4 hours. Stay there. You're paying for this and you've been preparing for this. So stay and just go make sure about your answers. There are different things. This slide is very important, and I would read it more and more and more. And this is out of our experience. I drafted this slide, I remember, back in 2018, based on my inputs and other people that I met with and interviewed. Don't hurry, don't be so fast in reading the question, right? I know that you want to make sure that you answer all the questions and you have only 4 hours, but you really need to understand what the question is asking you, because there are some tricky questions. PMI is known for their tricks. They will trick you. with a word or with a letter or with a comma. So you need to understand the question. Sometimes when you read the question from left to right, read it twice, that helps. Sometimes when you go back from right to left, that will help as well. So read the whole question before you get to answer. The answers, you would have 4 answers. It's all multiple choice. You don't have any true and right. You don't have any essay question. You don't have any kind of systematic, lab question that what you've been doing at Intel or others. No, it's all multiple 4 questions. There might be 3 questions right and 1 question, 3 answers right and 1 answer is wrong. They're looking for the best correct answer. Always remember this: best correct answer. So don't fall in the trap, because they will give you some good answers, but you need to get the best one. If you work at Intel or if you work at any other company, take that hat off. It's totally different. For example, at Intel, there are a lot of things we do in projects. We don't follow PMI. We follow our own Intel things. So take this hat off and just think PMI. Think about what you went through. Never or always, usually, if you find these words in any answer, that answer shouldn't be the right one to select. What else? Sometimes process of elimination. Probably you know about this method, right? So go through the answers and try to eliminate the ones that don't make sense, and for sure they're not right answers. And then you will find yourself having 2 answers that you need to choose one of them. So go through your gut, go through your thinking, and just choose the answer that you think it will be right. Right? Usually after 2 hours, you will be exhausted. You will be thirsty. You might be hungry. Once you feel that your body is calling you, stop. Go out, get a drink. Water is the most important thing. And get a snack. We usually recommend banana or orange or both. And then go to the bathroom, even if you don't need to. Just go to the bathroom. That will take probably 5 minutes, which is worth it. And just go back. They will not let you out of the center, by the way. You have to be still in the center. So if you say, I want to get some fresh air, no fresh air. Try to do some, practice or exercise in the center. If the answer is not clear, think about the process group or application area that this question is about and go through the sequence. You probably will get the answer, right? The last thing is keep the momentum. Don't worry about anything at home. Don't think about next week, your project at work. Don't think about your hair or how you look or your clothes. Just focus on the exam. Nobody is looking at you, right? So keep that momentum. So for some, I got a question before about virtual training or testing. Don't go through virtual testing. It's not a pleasant experience from what we heard. I did not go through it, but because of COVID, they had that as an option. And some people from my work went through it. It's not good because they ask for a lot of requirements. You need to do a scan for your office or your room or your conference room or your garage or whatever you're gonna be in to take the exam. You need to have a video and send it to them, and they need to see what kind of a keyboard you have, what kind of a place you have. And then if you take it virtually, if you need to go to the bathroom and you forgot to tell them, they will just stop the exam for you and you will lose the money and you have to take it again. You have to apply again. So we don't recommend the virtual testing unless if you have to. It's an option. I have few more slides, but I'm afraid that I'm talking a lot and I'm taking more of your time. Am I doing good, or should I stop here for questions and end it, or just continue? I have the time, but I'm just, respectful of your time, goal, and the team.
Brother, Jazakallah khair for sharing all that. I think this is great. You can continue. We can just maybe continue and have this. My purpose was to educate the whole team and give them some more assertive methods as well. That some of them that I already shared with them. We talked about selection by elimination. That's one. Thank you for sharing that one. We did that one. We did practice of that. One of the things that I want to emphasize, and that I saw that in your previous slide as well. Can you go back to your slide?
Sure.
Yeah, here we have the specific to in-person training testing, that the first bullet point is optional. During the first 15 minutes, write down the mind maps and formulas that you have mentioned. So that's one of the things that I was always recommend people to do it. And this is again, this is for the whole team who is attending right now, to just see all these are the good tips that can help you in getting relaxed, getting prepared for the exam, and during the exam what you need to do. I think we are good. You can continue to have that one for the next another 10-15 minutes as well. I have another speaker as well, but I'm gonna follow up with him and see if he's running late or something. Then we can continue until then. So go ahead.
I am here. Go.
Sorry, did I hear somebody was? Oh, Brother Nadeem is here. So, yeah,
sure.
Thank you. So we'll.
I'll go through this quickly within the next few minutes, and I'll stop for any questions, and if Nadeem would like to share as well.
Perfect.
That's fine. Yep.
Exactly.
This is just an FYI slide, PMP exam content. So people, process, and business environment. Probably you'll see this in your PMBOK, or maybe Gold talked about this before, so I'm gonna skip. We talked about the strategy before the exam. This is just a repetitive, detailed slide. One thing just to mention again, while you're studying, just make sure that you really study, right? No kids, no phone, no TV, and all of that. And this one here, talking about the best answers, we talked about the process of elimination. When you have most of the questions by the PMI, if you read them and think about them, you will know that there is a story about you. You will have that feeling if they're trying to trick you or not. So, as I said, the questions with never and or always or permanently or all, usually those are not right answers. So you can start your process of elimination and eliminate those answers, and you can end up with 2 answers, hopefully, and you can choose the best one of them. When you pass the exam and be certified, you need to do PDUs. Maybe Gold talked about this, but PDUs is reporting your service and knowledge and education every 3 years to PMI. You need to report 60 hours of that. So your certification can be renewed every 3 hours. The last thing in here is about the resources. This is for the brother who asked. So here are some resources that hopefully will help you. In addition, I'm sure Gold shared a lot of resources with you, but these are great resources. Some of them are free, some of them with fee. You can go and download them, or you can just go and take the exams and go through that. There are some videos.
Question, brother, in the previous slide. I'm actually waiting for that slide for a while. Which one of those you would recommend to use as a mock exam to practice?
Yeah, sure. So for the free ones, the PMP practice exam, this has 4 practice exams.
Is that the same one that Brother Gul shared with us, I'm assuming?
Some of them I did.
Okay.
We need to look at it whether I
So
think that
yeah,
I did share the Oliver Lehman and this PMP practice exam. The
mm,
simulator, I don't think so. I have shared it right yet. So
yeah,
that's
yeah. So yeah, if you go through, 2 or 3 of these, and the good thing about these exams or simulations, they will prepare you to sit for 4 hours in the real exam environment and take that exam. So we recommend 3 to 5 times or 3 to 5 exams to take, each one 4 hours before you take the real exam.
Okay.
Um, it's time commitment, it's allocation of your valuable time, but if you schedule it and take it in the weekend for 3 weekends or what have you, it's worth it. As a matter of fact, it's a must. you need
Okay.
you need to do it. So
So you
so
said what you're saying, that those free mocks, this side of your presentation would be sufficient to go through the at least the
yes, yes,
test.
these
Got it.
these these are good. Now if you need more, like if you want to go for more stuff, you can subscribe for one of these. Probably you're gonna pay $40 or $50 in average for each month, but you can cancel. You can just do it for 1 month and take one of other exams or other simulations in here as well, and that will help. Some people do that, so it's up to you. But I would start with the free ones.
Thank you. Are you sharing this slide with us, or would Brother Gul to share with us?
Yes, I can send it to Gol and probably Gol, or I can reply to the email he sent me. But whatever is
Yeah,
is
actually,
respected.
this will be really helpful to get that list of resources. Thank you.
yeah.
Inshallah.
So share that with me, brother. We have our center repository where we are sharing everything. So I'll share it with the
ما
whole.
شاء الله. Inshallah. خلاص. Inshallah. Yes.
Shukran, and thank you.
Afwan. Afwan. Resource. This is video and podcast. The good things about these, if you can do them through your phone. So you're waiting for your doctor appointment or you're just driving to the Bay Area, so you can hear about, just listen, right? If you'd like. What else? And I have this one as books and articles. I'm not sure what book you guys are using, but there are so many books in Amazon probably or so, but these are the ones that we verify that they are really good, and you can choose the one that you would like to go and do. So I'm done with my slides. Sorry to just rush because I didn't know that Nadeem is coming, but it's great to have Nadeem. So hopefully he can also talk more. But I see Talha, do you have a question? I see your hand. Or any others if you have any questions.
I have a question, Brother Bashar.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned, there will be 3 answers. It will be the right one, but one will be the best.
Not
So
always. In some
yeah,
questions they
sometimes
will trick you. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So if we answer the best one, that's right. What about the second or third? They may score that one, or no? They
No.
just score the best one.
It's just one. There is always one answer that PMI is looking for you to pick it, to choose it. And if you choose it, you will get that question right. So they trick you and they might give you 2 answers that are right, but one of them is the best answer in that specific question. See, most of the questions are scenario based. That's why I'm saying you need to take about 3 to 5 mock exams, full exams, before you take the real exam, because you need to get into the habit of reading stories. The paragraph that they give you, they will give you a statement. It's not like, it's not like, what are the steps to do, but to control your budget for a team of 5, and no, they will not say that. They will not say what or how. They will give you a paragraph or a scenario, and based on that, you need to choose the right answer. So you need to understand the story. You need to understand the paragraph. That's why you need to read the question carefully and make sure that you understand what they're trying to tell you, so you can, choose the best correct answer. best correct answers. Most of the questions have 2 correct answers or maybe 3, but you need to look for the best.
Got it. Thank
Okay,
you
brother.
so much.
Right, Jazakallah khair, Brother Bashar, for all the details. This is really very helpful, and thank you for spending your time on this one. And well, we really this is gonna be a very helpful for the whole team to actually
Sure.
whoever is planning to go through this one, as we just finished
Anytime.
work with this one. Jazakallah khair.
I
Thank
just
you
have a
for
very
inviting me.
quick question.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the exam, like I care about looking at time the whole time. Like where do I find it? Like I'm not allowed to bring in a timer, I understood. So is it
It's
only the computer time, the system time that I'm
the system
looking at?
time. Exactly. The system
Okay,
time,
so
it's the screen in front of you. They have a great system of questions. You will see
yeah.
how you will see the whole time, and they will tell you how many minutes still remaining, and so yeah, it's
Okay.
no
And if you
much
bring a
around.
snack as well, you hand them the snack and they keep it for you in a
No,
shelf
they
maybe or
will give
something.
you a closet. They will give you a
So
cabinet.
you have access to your closet.
They will give you a
Okay.
small key, or it's not key. It's not by. It's like a lock by numbers. So
I mean,
you
during
initiate
the
like
break,
the
you
one in
can.
the gym.
Okay.
What's that?
I mean, during the break, you can access it, right?
Yeah. You cannot take food inside. You cannot take water inside. It's all
Got it.
cameras, so nothing inside. You take a
Thank
break,
you
you
so
go
much.
outside, you eat whatever, and you come back.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you very much, brother. Jazakallah khair for your time.
What question, maybe Brother Gul or Bashar? I'm a loud reader, so when I mean reading exams, I usually talk it out a little bit loud, not loud. Would
Yeah.
there be other people sitting around while I'm
Oh
taking?
yeah, you don't. They will tell you you cannot read loudly because it's the room. There are people who are taking other exams. It's not necessarily just the PMP exam. I had a person who was taking one of the MCSEs, Microsoft exams, in the same room. Somebody else might be taking Oracle DBA exam. So it's not all PMP, and even if it's all PMP, you cannot read loudly. You have to get into a habit of just between yourself, just be silent.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brother Bashar.
Yeah.
Well, inshallah, be in touch. All right, thank you very much, everyone. I think this was helpful from Brother Bashar. I also invited Brother Nadeem. He is also, and Brother Nadeem, I apologize. We are now already about 15 minutes into your time as well, but this was helpful, so I wanted to just have that continued. You can take more time as well if you have more content you want to share, or this could be just a discussion. So our idea was to share the details and what we have gone through in during our trainings, but I wanted the team to actually hear from the other people as well, who are not just me, but also other practitioners who have done the PMP exam and who have been doing it, the practicing this one. Well, one of the things that, for example, team, you must have noticed that there are repetitions in some of the things that we covered during our time. For example, how to select, how to prepare the mock test, frequency of the mock test, making sure that you write down all your formulas and mind maps on a piece of paper just in the beginning. That's while it is fresh in your mind, and then you can use it during your exam as well. Brother Bashar gave a little bit more insight on what's going to happen inside the exam, inside the examination hall. That would be good, helpful as well. So, Brother Nadeem, if you're ready, you can also jump in and have the discussion. Just a brief introduction of Brother Nadeem. He is a PMP certified project manager. He's working for the state, but he was an Intel employee as well at one point in time, and he has a great resource. I always enjoy while I talk to him about professionally or personally as well when we have the discussion. So he's a very good source of information and those hints where how we prepare and how we try to pass this this kind of exam. Brother Nazim, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gulkadesh. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Actually, first of all, before I get started, I would like to mention one thing. Brother Bashar has been the inspiration. Okay, so at Intel, when Bashar was taking classes, right? So I asked him, and he said, "Oh, come to my class," right? I never thought that I needed a PMP, right? All of us, knowingly or unknowingly, we have been practicing, project management, right? But thing is, we just need to make it more structured, right? That's it. And when I talked to Brother Bashar and I started joining his classes, it helped me understand, and probably Brother Bashar can, talk more about my interaction with him also. So somehow, when I was going through this preparation, right, I didn't realize, actually, I didn't feel that it was too difficult, right? Maybe maybe it's a good time to actually talk about my experience, right? So I have a master's in mechanical engineering. I have worked at Ford Motor Company, and as a design engineer, and then as a strategic planner. Actually, I have my MBA from Michigan, finance and corporate strategy. I came to Intel. I worked at Intel, as a finance person, and then I have internal audit background also. I'm a certified internal auditor. I did that for about 6 years at Intel. And then I joined Intel Federal, which is project controls. And, so that actually added to my experience. And that's why I'm saying that I didn't feel that was too difficult of a read for me. So it was very, it was just a structure that I did not have. And the PMP provided that structure to me, that PMP studies. So, I don't know, should I talk about my preparation goal, or, what do you want me to focus on?
So the idea was that if we can share for that with the team your experience, how you prepared it, what are the current challenges, and currently how that's going to be helpful for the team to actually prepare and then pass the exam.
Okay. So maybe Brother Bashar may not agree with most of my things, and he, but thing is, so as I said, right, so I started working with Bashar. I was going to his weekly, sessions that he had at Intel. And, that revision was really great, right? So he always had these, sections that we were focusing on, and we went through all those. The one thing that I really want to mention, and I don't know whether Gul Khadir or Bashar would say, I used a book that was Head First PMP. I did not use any other book, right? Head First PMP. And I found that book to be very logical, at least for me, to prepare and understand, right? The thing is, and, we are all educated and experienced, right? So we know that we need to stick to the basics. And the basics of studying is, critical thinking, taking notes, and try to figure out, why these things are being told us, or, what could be asked, right? So these were the things that I focused on. And using, going through and that book was pretty concise. I cannot find that book again, I don't know where that book is. Now I see there is about 400 pages. Probably Brother Bashar knows there may be a concise, concise version of that book, Head First PMP. But now what I see is 400 pages book. So I don't know whether it was the same book. I have to look up, I have moved so many times, so I don't have all my stuff. Actually, I gave away a lot of things. So by the way, right, so I did my federal job at Intel, and then I moved to, again, back into NSG. And then we were moved to Solidigm, and I was laid off from Solidigm. And then, and again, I know if you guys know Brother Wali and Brother Gulkadir, these are the guys who actually encouraged me to apply for the state jobs. And I did apply for the state job. And now I'm at the state of California, Department of Technology. I am in the project oversight and approval, department of California Department of Technology. And I'm a product approvals and oversight manager, right? So this is where I am actually making sure that all the projects that the state is doing, managing, they are following the PMBOK, right? So whatever the best practices are, they are, and you all know that the state of California is a government job, right? Is a government, and thing is they're bureaucratic, and project management PMP provides that structure that is really liked by the people who are actually working at the state, right? So, and I feel that, it's a good way of managing such a huge organization. There are so many people at the state of California, and they have been, managing these projects. If they don't have any guideline or any, structure, it will be very difficult to manage. So PMP comes into picture there, and it helps them a lot, right? So there is definitely value. Now I'm going back to, is there a question? Anyone, any comment or question? So I'm it's a just free discussion, guys, right? So if you have any questions.
Oh, Nadeem, you just refreshed my memory. I remember those days. So I didn't know that Nadeem is coming. If I knew that, I would just tell you about his story. But he mentioned what he went through, and I think he's a great example. I'm not saying this because he's here, but he is a great example of someone at that time probably, didn't need a PMP. This guy is so smart. He has 2 or 3 degrees, works in a great company and one of the best organizations we have at Intel, dealing with internally with our organizations and externally with federal and state agencies, and he has other certifications with finance and auditing. So if you think about it, why PMP? But his kind of hunger for knowledge and learning, I think, put him it's not me, it's not the training, it's him that he decided, hey, it's a great opportunity, tell me how. We told him, he just followed the whole thing and studied and practiced and got the certification, and years after, now he is in the state, he's using it. And this is what we mentioned, and probably Brother Gold mentioned that to you before, that getting the PMP certification will add to your knowledge, will add to your experience. You might not need it now because you already have your job, but you never know, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So it would be a great one. The last thing for the book that he mentioned, it's the same book that I studied from. And I remember our discussion at the masjid different times and about this book, Nadeem. It's called PMP Heads First. It's still in Amazon. And it's about, I don't think it's 400 and extra 420 pages. The good thing about this book is, remember the scenario-based questions that PMI has? This book will prepare you for reading those scenarios. It's a storytelling book. It's not dry. It's not like the PMBOK. It's very friendly book. There are 12 chapters, I believe. Every single chapter has 20 questions at the end. And then at the end of the book, there are 2 mock exams already included that you can practice. So that's why I selected that book back in 2010. And Nadeem, I think 5 years or so, I don't know, when you took your
2017, for sure.
5-6 years ago. So he took that book. So hopefully you can find it on Amazon. It's worth it. And I think it's like $60 or $65. So whether your manager approves or not, buy that book if you find it in Amazon, and buy it new, don't buy used.
Yep. Thanks, Bashar. So, so that book definitely was a great thing for me. I did not read from any other book, right? So it was the only book, and Bashar's lectures, so really appreciated at that time.
Yep, that's the one I've added.
Girl, you had a question, comment? Okay. So
I'm
the other
good.
thing is, so Bashar, remember we were talking about it, when I was taking the exam, and I was really prepared. I thought I was really prepared for the exam, right? And I did not study from any other book. I did the head first, and then I started doing some practice tests. And
Exactly.
guess what? I was failing them.
We all
That's the
do.
All of
thing. You need to do the exam tests before you
Exactly.
do the real one. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I was failing. I took 3 tests. I don't know one of those that you gave, Bashar. I don't remember exactly. I did 3 of them. I was failing less than 50%. And I had a Monday off, probably I remember very well. And I studied on the weekend. I was taking the test on the weekend, and I was failing, and I was little, upset because I thought I was prepared, right? So Monday morning, I got up. I had a day off from work. Go ahead. There's a question, Khalisa.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Brother, what was again the name of the book? Head First PMP.
Yeah, head first.
PMP.
Okay, so yeah, it's in Amazon, $37.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Look up the latest version. Because there are many versions of that book.
yeah, I want to get the latest one.
4th edition.
I think Gul, is there anything beyond that, or this is the latest? Which
Yeah,
one is the
I'm not
latest?
familiar with
I
that.
bought the 4th edition. I think that's the latest one.
Correct.
The 4th edition is PMP book 6th edition.
So
I
any
think
book
there is
that
another
says
one.
that it is basically covering the PM Box 7th edition, that's gonna be your latest one.
I
So
see. Okay.
if it does say that it's covering PM Box 7th edition, then it means you have
No, actually, it says it's covering the PM book 4th edition.
okay, then it's old.
This is
That's
old.
all. Yeah. Here's one thing to clarify. Any book that you buy from Amazon, if it says 4th edition or third edition or what have you, that's the edition of the publisher for that book. It doesn't mean the edition of the PMBOK by PMI.
Correct.
The edition for the current edition for PMBOK by PMI is 7.
Yeah. So just remember that whenever you're buying any book, either you can consult me and I can actually tell you that whether this is the latest version or not, because the main idea is that you need to have a book that should cover the latest PMBOK. Only then you will be able to address all the current syllabus and the courses and the questions from the 7th edition. So if it does not say it's covering 7th edition, there are a lot of books that are available on Amazon that say that it's covering 6th edition. And so 6th edition of PMBOK is covered. There are a lot of books are available, but those are not the latest editions. So make sure that whatever book you buy, it should cover 7th edition of PMBOK.
Okay. So, what I was trying to tell you guys is, on Monday morning when I got up, I decided not to go for the exam, right? And I asked my wife, okay, can we go, if there is anything that she wants to do, we could do. And she said, nope. Why? You have an exam? I said, I don't feel like going to that exam, and I did not share my frustration with the things that happened on the weekend, for 2 days, I was getting 50% or less. So she said, no, that you have already registered, you had a day off, go and take the exam. So I went ahead, I took the exam, and I had the really nice music after I did the last question, and, I was surprised that I passed. But I was very confident before I started taking those exams, the mock exams. And then I got frustrated, right? So the point I'm trying to make is when you take those exams, the mock exams, don't get frustrated. Don't get disheartened. You prepare with the knowledge. And sometimes it seems to me that these questions that these guys have as the mock questions were really did not make sense for most of the time, right? And that was my frustration that, okay, as Bashar said, that they would confuse you, they would, bring up some extraneous facts which you don't need, or the trivial facts that you don't really need. So you have to examine the questions. What are the facts which are relevant and important? And you have to judge the answer based on that. You have to come up with the answer, right? The other thing I used to do when I was taking those exams, I went through those exams very quickly. I look up, I actually try to find the shortest question. I did not go into the ones which had so many options, and you could see the text, right, when the question is there. Reading that, I just want to spend that time later on those, right? So I skipped those. I attempted. I don't know whether Bashar would agree with my, my strategy, but I skipped those questions for the later, right? So I focus on the ones which were short, and there is probably straightforward answer. Whether I answer it wrong or right, that's the next thing. But I really don't have to spend time to understand the question, right? So those were the ones that I attempted first, and then I started the second set. I mean, the second revision, which I left, which I did not answer, and then I started doing those, questions. What other thing I would like to say? Any other question on the exams? The strategy beyond what?
While you are thinking about other things, I just want to emphasize on this one, team. This is we discussed it. Remember, now this is I really appreciate these two gentlemen, professionals, coming over here and giving their perspective. So we see now three perspectives right now. But one is that just take your time, read through the whole exam, a whole question, and answer it, and then move on to the next one, so that you don't have to go back. Strategy Brother Nadeem told you is that just skip the ones that you think is kind of too much time for reading it, and then take the low hanging fruits and then move on. The strategy that I told you about my test was, I was just reading it, skimming through that one, and if it is taking more than 40 seconds for me to just read the question, I would guess one answer, click that one, and mark it for review again, and then go back and move on. It's like three different strategies, and alhamdulillah, all three of them worked. That's why we are here. So I did in 2005 with PMBOK version 3 or 2. I think that was 3. Then when I passed my exam, Bashar did it with another version of that. Nadeem did with another version of PMBOK. So it basically gives you the idea that whatever works for you, that because every person is different, so if you are doing it and then whatever works for you as a student, you would know that what's my best strategy that will work. Some people cannot go back and then read it again. They say, I'm here, I'm going to finish it, and only then I move on, and I don't have time to go back. I'm a very slow writer. I normally, when I write very slowly. In this case, you're not writing it, but I take time, and then I time my each and every question as well. So that's exactly, just wanted to emphasize on this point, that now at this point we are seeing three strategies right away. Brother Nasser, you have a question?
Maybe it's not the right time, but my question is actually after that you have passed the exam. So if you want to ask it later, that's
talk about
fine.
that one as well. But first, let's focus on the one we have. And then one more thing is that the music, that reminded me again, taking nostalgia, that the beautiful music. So between the time when you click submit and then the result comes in, I actually closed my eyes and I was pretty much reciting all the surahs and all the duas that I had in my mind at that time. And I did not even open my eyes until I started hearing that beautiful music. And I did not know at that time what is the meaning of that one, because nobody told me. So I opened my eyes and I saw it said, "Congratulations, you passed."
Congratulations.
So that's the. So if you hear that nice music, beautiful music, it means that you passed. I don't know what happens if you, God forbid, don't pass. What happens?
Yeah, but Gul, I think it's fair that people may not pass in the first attempt. right? We know that, right? I was ready for that, right? And Bashar could talk about that also.
Yeah.
So,
The first,
don't take it, don't take it as something really bad happened. It's it's just that, you can fail, it's, and especially PMP, I know, because the day before I was failing, 50%, it was pathetic. I never had such a score in my life, when I was taking exams. But on the weekend, I had 50% or less, and I was frustrated, right? But thing is, you are in a mood, you are clicking, you are thorough, you are reading, and it's all about, the state of mind you are in. So if you are fresh and you are connecting, and you had prepared, obviously, right? So thing is, if you have done this, there are chances that you will pass, right? It's not everybody would like to pass the exam, right? Nobody wants to fail, but there is a possibility that you may still fail. But thing is, guess what? You have an experience that you can leverage for the next time, right? You don't have to listen to Bashar or me or Gulkadir as what this exam is, right? You've been through this exam, you've been through this experience, you know exactly.
experience.
Yeah. So
Yep.
this is okay. There was a note somewhere, but thing is, this was my strategy as I shared, right? Gulkadir was saying about this also. He had different strategy. Bashar had different. Bashar is the one who has been forcing me. So Bashar's good thing is, right? So he's a mentor also in a way. He was a teacher and he was a friend, right? So I did talk to him. I did not disrupt his classes because I could be a very big disruptor. He knows that, right? So I had to talk to him privately that Bashar, this is what is happening. And he said, yeah, this is good. It could happen. But most of the time, on a major, if you look at the percentage of the people, he has experience with so many people. So he knows more. So he was saying that this is not normal, what I was experiencing. So he was talking to me about what is normal, right? So this is majority of people, they will go through this, they may not experience this, that what I was experiencing. So because I tried to convince him about the way I was studying, but he did not like that. So I just wanted to, I remember it very well because Bashar is the one, as I said, he was the inspiration, right? So that's why I started attending classes and I decided to take the exam. But people have different styles, right? So everybody has different styles. And I remember his style when he was talking about the requirements, the inputs, the outputs. It gave me an idea. Bashar, I don't know if I talked to you about that also. So what I did, I had the boxes at home, really small. And I put the name on those boxes, okay. And I started putting things, okay, where this would go, right? So I was doing it practically, right? I had those boxes right in front of me. And I was just making sure that, okay, this is on the piece of paper, I was putting this is requirement or, whatever that is. And I was putting them in the boxes, right? So that helped me, visualize things also, right? So I liked the head on, head first PMP just
Yeah.
because of that they does talk about that, really well. And I think in the PMP, most of the time they are testing that, whether what is a requirement, what is the output. Bashar, I don't remember very well now because I have not, you have been actually delivering this lecture, so you are probably aware. But I think you gave me that idea and I did practice it and it helped a lot. Right. So maybe if you have,
It's all about, you're right. I remember those discussions. It's all about practice, with the PMP exam, like Nadeem and Gul before mentioned, there are a lot of entities. You have the requirements, you have the inputs, you have the processes, you have the outputs, you have the formulas, you have the methods, the definitions. There are so many things. In any book you buy or some of these websites that we share, there should be some mind maps or some kind of, one chart or what have you. What I shared with Nadeem is that any of those, I would go and make different printouts and put one in your office, put one in the mirror in the bathroom while you're taking a shower. I would, sorry to say, but when I was taking a shower, I would look at them in the mirror. I would hang the mind maps in the mirror and just go through it fresh and early in the morning. I have one in the fridge. Look at it, because the more you look at them, I am not a fast when it comes to my memory and my head. I don't memorize things fast enough. I need to spend time. I need to use my hands. I need to use my voice. Different style, right? So it takes time for me to memorize. So like Nadeem said, those inputs and outputs, you need to memorize them. You need to know the order. You need to know the priority, because some of the questions will test you on those. And you want to make sure that you get the highest percentage of any of those questions in your exam so you can pass. So anything can help you, why not? So if you have any of those mind maps or of goal, shared with you and sent you links or what have you, print them, like 2 or 3 copies, and have them around the places that you go at work or at home. So hopefully that will help you more. One more thing I want to mention about what Gul and Nadeem mentioned about the different styles of taking the exam, skip the question or go through the shortest one or what have you. All of them are right. It depends on you. And probably if you don't know your style as of now, that's totally fine. You will know it when you start practicing the exams.
Exactly.
That's why this is another benefit of practicing the exams at home before you go take the real exam. So you know your style and how you would go. The one advice that you will always remember, out of all those questions, don't ever, no matter what, leave any question without an answer.
Exactly.
Have 4 answers. That means 25% each. Let's say there is a question that you have no clue whatsoever. It's like German language. Nothing. You don't know. All the answers, you don't know which one. Just go and select C. You have a 25% of having that question right.
Correct.
If you leave it intentionally or unintentionally, because if you don't have time at the end, if you leave it in the side and you don't have time and the system will stop, you lose that 25% chance. So please answer all those questions. And Gul mentioned something very smart. The questions that you're not sure about, or they are very long, or you need to spend more time to understand them, just select something and just flag it. There is a box on the right corner or left corner, I can't remember. You can
upper
just
right
flag
corner
it.
normally.
Right
You
corner,
have
yeah.
it
You
marked.
flag it and you can go through it again. Of course, you can go through all the questions as long as you have time. So
Yeah, so that's exactly what I mentioned, that select the best, whatever the first answer comes to your mind, select that one and then move on, and then mark it as to flag it for review again so that you can do that. So this is great. See, you're getting now a different way of doing it. One of the thing I never recommend, Brother Bashar just recommended it, and I have a little bit conflict. I don't recommend having a map or everything in your shower. I don't do that. But it's your choice if you want to do it.
Bill, actually, so thing is, it helped a lot, right?
Yeah.
So thing is, if you were in your office, right? So if you put that mind map right in front of you,
Exactly.
right? It could actually they're branching out, right? So it branches out into different, so all those sections will branch out. So you understand that this is part of this, right? So you can categorize, you can classify, you can actually create that mind map as where does this belong, right? Particular section or particular area, right? So this really helped me, right? I probably did not study as much as I should have, but these were the things that helped me a lot. Okay. The last thing I would like to say, Gul, I don't know how much time you have, but this is the most important thing is your time management, for the exam. You have to understand, your capability of going through the exam and understanding the question, responding to the question. You have to make sure this is a gauge that you are trying to make sure that you are aware of, right? Your gauge that, okay, I'm taking right or wrong is a different thing. You can probably answer 100% right all the questions for a mock test if you spend, twice the time. That is not the idea, right? You have to limit yourself to the time it's being allotted for the exam and try to pressure yourself. You have to go through that environment, the pressure environment that you will be experiencing at the real test, right? So I would emphasize that make sure you are really good and you're focusing on your time management, right? That's the most important thing.
Jazakallah. That's exactly what my challenge was. When I was preparing for this exam, my challenge was to do the time management. I always had that lacking, that I sometimes I just go to spend too much time in one or two questions, and then I realize that I end up actually spending about 10 minutes in on one question, whereas I still have about to 179, or at that time when I did it was about 200 questions total. So we had 199 questions still left, and I was spending 10-15 minutes only on one question. So time management is key. That was a challenge for me. As I said, that most of the time memorizing things is not my cup of tea, but I have a photographic memory. If I see something one point in time, I will remember that. I may not remember that what I read, what I heard, but if I see something, I would know exactly what the answer is. So that's, every person is different. So you have to look at it. You have to start practicing these exams. The more exams you practice, the better prepared you are. And that would, as brother said, that if even if you don't know what your style is, you would know what your style is. You would know whether you have a better, is it possible that you can, in the morning and the evening and afternoon, you can just read it through once, and that's good enough for you? Is it something that on your way to the office and coming back, is that the best time when you can just hear that and listen to the questions answers? Or is it something that you can just look at it every day in the morning or 2 or 3 times, and then you would know that, okay, this is what is something that I need to do? So prepare, first of all, know yourself, know your own strengths. And I'm not saying that this is knowing yourself is a problem. Actually, every person has its own strengths. So you, by knowing your own style, you are discovering your own strength. For example, I discovered this my strength, that, oh, I can actually, if I see something, I will remember that one. So since then I could practice that one more. Before that, I did not have that practice that I can memorize. So I was like thinking that oh, I can't do this, really just open the book and start reading it and then I will remember that one. No, nowadays, since I prepared for this exam, from there onward, every time I would just type something and I'm seeing that this does not look exactly the way I thought it is, it means I'm doing something wrong. So then I'll go back and then see that what was the best option that I selected. And another key point there where I want to again emphasize that Brother Bashar mentioned, that they will trick you. And we learned this, we practiced that one as well during our sessions, selection by elimination, that you eliminate about, most of the time, 50%, which means the out of 4 questions are wrong, and you would know right away. Just like that, you would know that these 2 are wrong, eliminate them. Then the answers that you have, sometime I would disagree with the way PMBOK is selecting that one. I would say the other answer is more accurate than the one that PMI is selecting. But that's where you have to listen to PMI and not to what I'm thinking. As Brother Bashar very correctly mentioned, that take your Intel or take your office or take your work hat off, and then make sure that you are at that time going and focusing on the things that PMBOK is asking you to do. So
And they are going to score it too. They're scoring it too.
That is correct. All right, Brother Nadeem, anything else you want to share?
No, I just want to encourage everyone, right? The thing is, believe me, right? It may be little, overwhelming, but it's not difficult, right? So just try to organize yourself, try to come up with a plan as how you are going to do section by section. If you are studying, just organize yourself, right? Manage it better. And thing is, figure out what are the things that you don't understand. Maybe you can find out while you are doing these things, It's just simple revisions of things, right? So you can, you're just, and again, you have to be very critical of yourself also, right? That's the most important thing. Yeah, you just say, okay, no, it's okay, it's fine. No, there is nothing fine. You have to get the concept. You have to fully understand it, right? If you understand the concept, you can answer any question they may ask you, right? But you have to understand the concept. That is the basic thing that you are going to go through. And again, I'm not marketing that book, but believe me, that book helped me develop those concepts, really well.
That's great.
That's all, Gul. I think if there is no other question or comment.
One more, I'd like to mention one more at the end, Goal, and Nadeem, thank you so much. But one thing I'd like to mention is for this PMP is it should come from you as you that you want to do it. Once you believe in this certification, you can do it and you will pass. If we pass this certification, you will pass it, right? We just spent some time studying, took the exam like any exam, we passed, you will pass. It's a matter of time. Most important is that you really need to be committed, disciplined, and really be, like Nadeem said, organized. You have to blend this in your daily schedule. It has to be in your calendar. This is not, if I have 15 minutes, I can just go read, or if I have 10 minutes, I can take this exam. It's not. You need to dedicate time and efforts and energy into this. And always remember, don't get down and say, okay, well, I'm not gonna take it, or what have you, or this is difficult, or I don't have time. You all have time. We all have time. Like, I was watching something on YouTube the other day, and somebody said, I forget what's his name, he's an actor, said everybody has time. Look at how many times, how many minutes, how many hours you spend in social media every day, including myself, every hour, right? Whatever social media is, from YouTube to TV to Instagram to what have you. So we have time. We just need to organize it. And again, don't look at the whole thing as a big bulk, difficult thing. Segment it. Just put it in small segments, and you will do it. The other thing that helped me, and I forgot to mention, is something called, again, part of the psychological effect for a person. It's called rewarding. Reward yourself. When you study on a Saturday morning, 4 or 5 hours, go for a break. Go to a restaurant, get some lunch, go to the gym, get some swimming, do something fun that you like. Reward yourself, because that's a psychology that will encourage you to study more and more and more and more. So hopefully those kind of little tips can help you. And after, if today is the last day of the training with Goal, uh, don't just stop learning with others. Try to mingle with others at the masjid or over the phone or at work, in the cafe. Always talk about this. Have lunch with someone. Ask questions when you see somebody who passed the exam or preparing for the exam. That will keep the momentum and will keep your energy going for the next few months until you take the exam. Thank you.
Jazakallah, brother. This was good.
Just last thing I would like to say, I think just try to visualize yourself why we are doing PMP. I mean, why anybody would do PMP, or why the organizations are using PMP, right? I mean, the project management, right? So why they are doing it. Try to figure out and understand that goal clearly as why they want to do it, right? Once you understand that goal, then you can answer these questions, having that thing in your back of the mind that this is what they are trying to accomplish. Is this goal accomplished, with the answer that I'm giving, right? So you have to set that bar that has to be met when you're answering any question, so it's, I don't know, I'm not sure how I'm going to explain this, but you have to set up that expectations of the project management program, whatever that is, that this has to pass that bar, right? So your answer has to be meeting that minimum requirement that they are posing at you as a project manager, right? So I don't know, Gul, if you can explain it better. Probably you understood what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so one of the main things that we have is once you are a project manager, there is a high level of expectation from you. Not as that they're going to judge you on that one, but as actually it's from as a professional practitioner, you have a high level of judgment on that one. That you need to have a sense of excellency, that you need to have, as Nadeem mentioned, that you need to set a higher bar for yourself on that one. So if you prepare and when you are answering, then at that time, if you try to understand the basic concept behind the scene, the concept we have already reviewed during our class. If you remember all these sessions that when we went through for the last 8 we about 8 classes and four weeks, we have been through, we had a lot of discussions, a lot of generic questions. Those are the things that we had in the beginning. So it's better that you go through those questions, you go through those videos again, and then see what are the different topics that we discussed and how we answer some of those questions. That will help you organize your thought process. So more organized you are, better you're gonna be, and your performance is gonna be during the exam. Remember, project management, right? In my very first class, when I started this one, I told you, I personally believe project management is an art. It's not just a science that you're doing. It's an art that you're doing. How you do it, how beautifully you conduct that. There has to be a major difference between a person who says that, oh, I can do it, I can get this thing done, and but I don't know what to do next. And then the project manager sitting on their seat, you as a project manager, you are gonna say, okay, for today I'm starting a project, but that project is the total duration of this project is gonna be another 12 months. So you will plan the whole 12 months right away. So then people can see that how are you actually doing it, what is your strength, and then how you do the planning. How, and we spend significant time in the planning module as well, if you remember that. So those are the things that we need to pay attention to. So that's exactly what we need to do. Thank you very much, Brother Bashar and Nadeem, for your time. It was really great, very valuable, very helpful that you have provided your time, and also I know that this is a long weekend, so again, thank you for joining us for this one. We'll have some more comments. If you want to stay, you can please, you're more than welcome to stay on the call. But if you want to drop off, it's okay.
No, that's fine, Gul. Actually appreciate it. So these guys, again, I just want to make sure that everybody understands, right? So we always have this time limitation on ourselves while we are working, right? So, and we have families also. So this is the most challenging part of taking PMP exam. But thing is, you have to be true to yourself, right? If you are taking this exam, you are taking that exam, period, right? There is no ifs and buts. It's not like me, on a Monday morning deciding not to take the exam. No, you have to go and prepare and take the exam, right? So this is the option that you're creating for yourself. So just be true to yourself. And if you are true to yourself, you do everything which is right for you. So that is my, simple advice to you. And good luck all. Inshallah, you all will pass in the first attempt. If not the first, definitely second, inshallah.
Yeah, you have up to 3. Once you apply for the exam and you get accepted by PMI, you have 3 trials, but each one has a cost. The first one is 5 something, I think, depends if you are a PMI member or not. The second one is 255, unless if they change it, it's less. And the third time, if you need to take it for the third time, it's like 245 or so. Like Nadeem said, I have many friends. I mean, I have more than 10 people I can remember now in my head throughout the last 7 years that failed the first time. One lady called me right away, like half an hour after she failed the exam, and she was crying. And I told her, well, you did not fail. It's an experience. You went through it. You did not score it. That's it. It's very easy. Go and learn from it, prepare again, and take it again. She took the exam within the next 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I think, and she passed.
Exactly.
So, you know, if you fail, don't give up. You have another, 2 trials. Hopefully you will pass from the first time. If not the second time, that's fine. Treat it as, your driver test. If you remember when you took your driver license, not all of us, including myself, the first time I failed in Michigan when I came to the country, even though I had a driver license from back home for 5 years, but I failed. And I took
Bashar,
it again. So,
Bashar, Michigan is really bad, man. They failed me
Michigan.
3 times and I had to come to California to get the license.
Here we go,
Yep.
So it's, just do what you can. And again, if, there are more, I think the last statistics, goal, I'm not sure if I was reading, I think there are just less than a million, like 980 something thousand PMPs worldwide. Now, this might look a big number, but it's not. Comparing to the professionals and companies worldwide, we're saying worldwide, not that just the US, it's not. So imagine you take this exam and you pass and you become a PMP. You are one of those little people worldwide that's certified in this critical area at home and in your business. And again, this is not just for your current employer. You take this certification anywhere you go within the US, out of the US, or any other employer that you work for. So it's like a weapon you have immunized in your resume that you can always present and always utilize to find other jobs or open your business or consultant or what have you. It's a win-win. There is nothing to lose out of this. And the last thing that just came to my mind, if you go to your manager and ask for a budget to apply for the exam, because it's about 550, I think, or so for the exam, plus the book, $60 or $70, plus the PMI membership, 120 or so. So it's a total of 700, 750. That's what you need to pay. If the manager says no, don't let this put you down and give up and say, oh, I'm not doing it. Is it worth it to pay 750? It is. It's worth to pay even 3,000 for this certification. This money, you will get it back after you get certified, and you will see that. So just do it. Do what you need to do and study for it, and you will be certified.
Bashar, well, can I share a little story here? So what just Bashar said about it, right? Bashar already mentioned that I did this when I really didn't need it, right? So I did it in 2017. I was working for Intel Federal, right? And project controls. I had a finance background. I could always go back to finance, but I did it. But thing is, I was laid off last year, and in June, and I was wondering, what to do, and I started applying for the corporate jobs. And for 1 full month, there was nothing that I could receive in return as a response from the employers that, yeah, we received this and we would like you to come for an interview. Nothing, right? Even with my, financial credentials that I had, with my internal audit credentials I had. But, when I applied for the state job, within a week or 2 weeks, I started getting, interview calls, right? And thing is, one of those big things that they were looking for, that PMP was actually helping me to stand out in the crowd, right? So I did not need it when I did it, but thing is, it helped me when I was looking for a job, and others were, the economy was bad. I don't know what the economy is today, but last year, it helped me to stand out with the, number of people that were applying for the jobs. So it always helps, right? So don't hesitate to pay if you have to pay from your own pocket. That's what I just want to emphasize.
Great example. And I shared my story as well, that when I applied for this one, I also did not need it at that time. I was already a project manager, and then my title was associate project manager. I was doing it the same job. I paid. I was not even a PMI member. I paid the whole $550 and then did that one. And when I passed that, and I went to my HR and I said, "Hey, I passed that exam. Now, can you reimburse me for the fee? She said, no, no fee. Okay, that's fine. Then I said, can I get some reimbursement in terms of books I bought and all that? She said, no, no books, nothing. I realized that there was nothing. So I said, okay, fine. But uh, just between that period, just before passing that exam, I already had a job offer. I had a job offer at HP, and then they were going through some of my paperwork was going through that. So I went to my previous job, where I did not resign yet at that time. They said no benefit, but they said, okay, congratulations, you passed. And probably one of the reasons was that they knew that I got a new job, so I'm moving on. So I moved on to the new job and joined HP, and I went over there. I did not actually announce it. So they hired me not as a project manager because I was not a PMP at that time when they hired me. So my very first project was with the Santa Clara Water District, state of California, and I was going over there. They were looking for a project manager. They did not have it. So I remember that the CEO of the company at that, not the CEO, of our COO at that time was an Indian guy. He came in, he said, so are you all settled in? And he said, are you ready to take up this one? We are just looking for one more project manager to do that. And then we have a full team for this bid. And I said, just so you know, I passed PMP exam. He said, when? I said, just a month before joining this company. And he said, why did you tell me that? So I got promoted on 4th day of my job because of the PMI. I got $25,000 bonus on that one because this was a different job classification, and got promoted to project manager. And then I was bid on that one, and we won that. So, I mean, just to give you an idea that there are benefits, sometimes you don't even get that one. I even asked them that, will I be able to get the reimbursement of my fee and all that? He said, you passed PMP exam before you joined the company, so we can't reimburse you for this, but we'll give you a $25,000 bonus in your salary, which is you deserve it on that one. So I'm happy with that because of that one.
Yep.
So again, these are all the great examples. You can, if you are, especially if you're looking for any kind of a job in the job market, you will stand out, as Nadeem mentioned. And if you are working in the government sector right now, we have seen 3 examples. Nadeem works for the state government. It's very in high demand. I work for the county. It's a very high demand over there. Bashar works for Intel. It's the private company. It's a very high demand as well. So you see all the 3 areas as well: the local and state, the governments, and the private sector as well. So it is gonna actually pay you off, even if you think that in the beginning it's a big cost for you. Okay.
Bill, I gotta go. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Nadeem. Thank you, Bashar, for your time. All right. And one of the things that guys, the team, that I wanted to tell you is that, so we will not have a total up until 6 o'clock. We're gonna just finish our class within the next 15 minutes. And I want you to spend the next hour and a half, again, as Brother Bashar and I and Nadeem, we all 3 emphasized on one thing, and that is to take the mock-up exams. So we have provided you the resources. At least start with those, and then start working on the mock tests. Set up some time where you have to discipline yourself, sit through the exam. For 4 hours, you're gonna sit through the exam and do that. That is gonna discipline you. Don't worry about it even if you pass or fail these mock tests, but at least once you go through these multiple sessions of these exams, that's going to be helpful. Any question before? I have another topic to talk about, but any question on any of these for now? No questions? That's great. Okay, I hope that this additional information, other than me only telling you, you had some of the other people as well, the practitioners, they gave you some insight that would have been helpful for you. I will have you have all these videos of all my lectures on available on my channel, and I have shared it earlier as well. I will also once the recording of this lecture is available, I will actually put this one as well on my YouTube channel, so you can always go back and have a look at it, go through all these this knowledge that we have shared and the experiences that we have shared. That is going to be really helpful for you. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, and then we have a couple of other things to discuss.